Hey guys, wanted to come on to do my video review of the book Free to Learn by Peter Gray. I have to start out and say that I loved this book, as I do most of the books that I finish. I am a person who I don't choose books, they choose me. So anytime a book comes to me and I actually finish it, because the secret to being a real bookie, not bookie, but book reader is don't finish what you don't like. Like if I read a few pages of a book and I don't like them, it's gone. So anyway, anytime I finish a book, the likelihood is that I've loved it and it's taught me something and it came into my life right when I needed it. And that's how I felt about this book. Peter Gray is an awesome writer. I felt like I was reading a story in a way. It was so well written. It was very vivid and succinct and clear. It was only about 230 pages, I think. It was it wasn't a long book, but it took a long time to read because it was so packed with just tons of information, history of the schooling system, and he took you from the beginnings, before school, when they instituted schooling, where we were in 2012 when the book was written, and then going forward what you can do about the schooling system as far as your children. So I took about 5 pages of notes, typed out notes, and those are just abbreviated little notations to say, go see page such and such, or a summation of what I liked about whatever he said according to whatever page it's on. And so I know that could have been at least double, maybe even triple the length of pages. It was a great book. One that I'm going to buy. I got it from the library, so I had to return it, but it's definitely on my Amazon wish list. So I just wanted to read a couple of the things that he said, or I summarized to go back to later, because again, it took me probably about a month to read it, and have you ever had a situation where you're reading something so deep and so profound and so on point that you just have to fill up and you just can't read anymore that day? Like you need a couple days off to let it sink in, to really feel it, because you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. But so yeah, it took me a while, and then I had to let it process to see what I want to talk to you guys about. So that took a little while too, but anyway, let's go. One of the things that in the beginning, when he was talking about culture before school came into place, he was talking about hunter-gatherers and how that's where humans really came from, where we worked with nature and we included our tribe in everything. It was no king of the tribe. It was you had leaders, but the leaders were just people that were there to bring people together and foster conversation. And it was true democracy, because anyone who could speak had a literal voice in the decisions of the tribe, where they would go, what they would do, everything like that. So he kind of started there, and so in that realm, I had one of the things that he said was, we have lost sight of the natural way to raise children. And I feel that's very true, especially these days. Parents just don't feel empowered, and truly the media, the government, the schools, other parents don't really help that. You don't have a lot of empowering people that are saying, you're doing a great job as a parent, and they really mean it. It just doesn't happen. I'm a positive person, and I tend to be that person that say, hey, listen to your gut, do what you think is right. I offer information if I can, and I really try to encourage people, but especially parents, to do what they think is right for their children, because that's what I do. So I think we have lost sight of how children learn, or maybe we just don't know. I think a lot of the time we don't realize that that play is learning. That's one of the big takeaways that I really I knew before, but I really understand it now, that children really, the way they practice new skills, the way they test and push themselves, that is through play. So it may look like, why is my child on top of the table trying to reach something that obviously they can't reach? That is their way of taking a risk. And it's calculated because they know, okay, I was able to climb up on the chair, and then I was able to climb up on the table, and now I want to reach this. This is the next step in testing what I can do, testing my skills. And so they're taking risks just like we take risks every day. But as an adult, you really don't understand how your risk is just because you've taken risks all along, and your parents were able to let you do that. So I think a lot of us don't let our children take those risks because we feel like, oh, they're going to get hurt or things like that. But that is their way of playing. That is their way of learning. So that's one of the things that I really came away with, is that we have to empower ourselves as parents to trust that our children know exactly what to do. And I'm going to scroll down to my notes because there's something that I wanted to say about play. Like, for instance, this is one of the questions I asked myself on the note. Why do we associate play with not learning? Why can't work be play? Why can't we let children just be? I'm not going to answer that. Just going to put it out there because it's something to think about. We don't do that. We're very fearful these days. And he touched on that too, how you have these, I know we've probably heard of now, called helicopter parents, and we hover over our children and everything is very scheduled and it's totally adult led, and it's just craziness. I mean, that's not how I grew up. We were able to go out and play and do our thing and come home. And I understand, there's a sense of an issue with safety these days, but realistically, it's not as crazy as the media tries to make you believe it is. Every child is not getting abducted. Every child is not getting molested. Every child is, not getting whatever, bullied and whatever. It's not that big of a percentage for us to have our children in the house all day because we're scared that something may happen. I mean, it's nuts. But anyway, what else? One of the things I wrote is, this is after, I'll go back a little bit. So he talked about, this is page 44, if anybody's going to read it. He talked about how when agriculture came into play after the hunter-gatherers that I was talking about before, how it came into play and it changed the goal of parenting. He said something like, it altered the condition of human life in ways that led to the decline of freedom, equality, sharing, and play, which were hunter-gatherer values. Hunter-gatherers worked with nature, and agriculture came in and tried to control nature, which got humans to begin to think that we could control other things, including children. I mean, that was like, wow, for me. So fast forward, that's, how before school started. Then the Prussian system came in, which is the system that our current system is based on. It was Prussia at the time. I think it's Russia. It turned into Russia and something else. I don't remember now, but let's see. It was based on the belief that young people were incapable of making reasonable decisions, and that the cornerstone of that system, that's the cornerstone of the system of compulsory, closely monitored education. So basically they told you, we're going to take your children, we know better than you, and we're going to tell them what they should be learning, because parents, you don't know what you're talking about. Right. Sound familiar? Hello. And what I wrote is, I'm pissed off at what they've done. I am. I really am. I'm not at peace with knowing how this schooling system came to be. And note, there is a difference between schooling and educating. Schooling is, I know you've heard the term of you got schooled. I mean, that's a negative term. You don't look at it like, oh, yay, I got schooled. This is great. No. You got taken advantage of. You got the wool thrown over your eyes. That's what schooling is. It's using you to deliver well, not deliver, but it's manipulating you to believe what somebody else believes, and then you go forward and you teach your kids the same thing, and nobody comes out better for it. So then, oh, he even talked about how the school system is in some ways polygamous. And if you think about it, it is, because it's like the dad or the male principal at the top, and you have these female teachers, and, you know, female teachers are in place to make it feel more homey, and, you know, you trust women, and oh, it's just, it's crazy. When you read that, you'll be like, oh, dude, that's so true. He talked about this school called the Sudbury School in Pennsylvania, I believe, or it's somewhere in there. I want to say Pennsylvania. Maybe it's Massachusetts. But anyway, you can look up Sudbury Valley School, Sudbury, Valley School. And they take a totally child-led approach to education. The children, I think it's from ages 4 to 18 or 19, they come, and as long as they're a good fit, they are released on the school grounds all day, and they do whatever they want. And you can even read up on, they have a YouTube channel, I think it's just Sudbury Valley School, and they have a website, and you can read up about why child-led learning in that way. It's more than unschooling. It's just totally whatever the kids want to do, that's what they do. Very interesting. I've looked way, way deeper into that. That's definitely something I would love to do in the future. So stay tuned. Let's see. Another one. Maybe it's ADD. Maybe it's not ADD. Maybe it's just curiosity. I mean, you know, people are real quick to throw these labels, but maybe kids just are curious and they don't want to sit still. Why is that crazy? Play is instinctual. It's practicing new skills in a creative way. I talked about that a little bit earlier. This is another one. Whenever children or adults bring imagination and creativity into their efforts toward discovery, they're combining play and exploration. Adults call this science. That's what it is. It's the science of learning. It's play. That's what it is. Play is intrinsically motivated. Parents think that we are the end-all be-all for our kids, and that's just not true. Our children know what they want. They're very clear in their intentions. One of the biggest takeaways I'll say for me is that I am a coach. I am not a teacher. My children do not need me to teach them. They need me to be an example of what they can do. They need me to be a source to help them, to help guide them. They need me to coach them to where they want to be. It's my job as a parent to pay attention to what their interests are and then nurture that. It's not for me to teach them things. I just think this book helped me really realize what my role is, and so I'm really thankful for that. And another thing that came away, because I want to wrap this up before 15 minutes, is that mixed age learning is the way to go. You bring older children and younger children together. Those older children are going to learn empathy, nurturing, creativity in the way they can teach to different people. They learn leadership skills and other things. The younger children get to do things that would, basically be older or more advanced than their age would tell them, it is. So they may be, I saw something the other day on Facebook that said 4th graders were teaching kindergartners how to computer code. We would not think a 5-year-old would be able to learn how to code computers, but they can, because they want to be like the older kids, and the older kids want to be that leader to the younger kids. So it just works. That's something I really want to work on, bring it to my community, because I see so many kids and I'm just like, why is everybody grouped by age? That's not where it's at. You need to bring everybody together, and everybody will play and learn, which I'm going to use play and learn interchangeably, because it's really the same thing to me now. And this book helped me see that. So there are a lot of things that I took away that I really enjoyed about this book. Again, it's called Free to Learn by Peter Gray, and I hope you guys will read it and let me know what you think. Talk to you later. Bye.